Greetings and welcome to another edition of KSOL Black Talk Radio, the new black media. Senator Ted Cruz responded Thursday night after former NFL quarterback Colin Kaepernick posted a passage earlier on the 4th of July from a famous speech by Civil War-era abolitionist Frederick Douglass. The passage Kaepernick cites is from Douglas' speech, quote, "What to the slave is the 4th of July," unquote. Douglas delivered to the speech at a meeting of the Rochester Ladies Anti-Slavery Society in Rochester, New York on July 5th, 1852, nearly 9 years before the Civil War began. Kaepernick posted the following portion without adding any comments, quote, "What have I, or those I represent, to do with your national independence? This 4th of July is yours, not mine. There is not a nation on the earth guilty of practices more shocking and bloody than are the people of these United States at this very hour." Beloved family, I'd like to pause for a minute and focus on those words for a second, because if you really think about it, those words hold true today. But the former San Francisco 49ers signal caller includes a video montage of a longer version of the speech, accompanied by drawings depicting traditional American slaves and photos from the Civil War era. Interspersed are videos from recent years showing police using force against black people and people of color. And of course, here comes this guy, Senator Ted Cruz, trying to history shame Colin Kaepernick on what he quoted and what the 4th of July represented to the slave. And with that, Ted Cruz, I have a message for you. For one, Teddy, we have a right to the freedom of expression. That means that if we so choose to take a quote and use it however we so choose, then what have you to say for that? Do you know how many movies and representations of black people we have had to suffer and witness that white males, predominantly white males in America, have represented wrong, they've represented maliciously, and they've represented in a way that has nothing to do with the true black man and black woman. So I say to you, Ted Cruz, that you really should step back and allow us to tell our history the way we so choose without trying to history shame someone. Because you just might step into your own poo. And so with that, I digress and I continue. So Senator Cruz goes on to say, "You quote a mighty and historic speech by the great abolitionist Frederick Douglass," Senator Cruz writes in response, "but without context. Many modern readers will misunderstand." Well, Ted Cruz, you're assuming that today's youth are dumb. You're assuming that they won't do the research on their own. You're assuming that people who follow Colin Kaepernick are all dummies and they're just going to take his word for whatever he says, and we won't do our own research. You're sadly mistaken. Another assumption gone wrong. But I digress. Cruz goes on to acknowledge that slavery was an abomination in the United States, but was eliminated through the efforts of Douglass and, quote, so many other heroes, unquote. Well, that's true. And so many of those other heroes, there were quite a few that were, let's just say, they weren't white. They were very few that were fighting against it, just like today. But I digress. The senator then asserts that Douglass, quote, was not anti-American. He was rightly and passionately anti-slavery. I can just imagine that Colin Kaepernick was probably highly pissed, having to listen to a Senator Ted Cruz trying to lecture him on our history, as if we don't know our own history. That's so problematic. But as evidence, Cruz quotes another portion of the same Douglass speech. Quote, "Allow me to say in conclusion, notwithstanding the dark picture I have this day presented of the state of the nation, I do not despair of this country. There are forces in operation which must inevitably work the downfall of slavery. The arm of the Lord is not shortened, and the doom of slavery is certain. I therefore leave off where I began, with hope, while drawing encouragement from the Declaration of Independence, the great principles it contains, and the genius of American institutions. My spirit is also cheered by the obvious tendencies of the age." Unquote. After quoting Douglass, Cruz then writes, quote, "Let me encourage everyone, read the entire speech. It is powerful, inspirational, and historically important in bending the arc of history towards justice." The senator then includes a link to the full text of the Douglass speech. So I conclude with this, family, as I stated before, that Colin Kaepernick has a right to his freedom of expression. So quoting what he quoted from Frederick Douglass from that speech, he had every right to, without question. But white fragility, I bring that word up again, it always requires that there's some type of explanation for everything that's black. Number two, Ted Cruz, as I was going through this quote, reading all the words about justice, you don't even believe in those words. How dare you even question what black men have to say about our history? This is a case of white fragility gone wrong, but it's definitely an example of what it looks like. I hope you like and share this video. KSOL Black Talk Radio bringing you another video, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace out.